Kasus dugaan genosida dan kejahatan kemanusiaan yang menargetkan etnis Muslim Uyghur di Xinjiang memasuki babak baru. Firma hukum Justice Abroad mewakili World Uyghur Congress dan Uyghur Human Rights Project hari Rabu 17 Agustus 2022 mengajukan pengaduan pidana resmi ke Pengadilan Buenos Aires di bawah ketentuan yurisdiksi universal yang ditetapkan dalam konstitusi Argentina. Ketentuan yurisdiksi universal sendiri memungkinkan pengadilan pidana negara untuk menyelidiki dan mengadili kejahatan internasional seperti genosida, penyiksaan, dan kejahatan terhadap kemanusiaan lintas negara. Direktur Justice Abroad, Michael Polak, menuding bahwa Tiongkok telah melakukan genosida dan kejahatan terhadap kemanusiaan melalui kebijakan represif yang menargetkan Muslim di wilayah barat negara tersebut. Tuntutan ini adalah momentum bersejarah bagi orang Uyghur dan para pencari keadilan atas kejahatan internasional. Harapan baru untuk memacu proses penyelidikan lebih lanjut dalam kasus yang terjadi sejak tahun 2017 ini. Bagaimana proses tuntutan pidana ini berlangsung? Apa bukti dan saksi yang dihadirkan? Dan sejauh mana kemungkinan untuk memenangkan gugatan ini? Berikut wawancara dengan Michael Polak di Provinsi Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Yes, absolutely. We're very pleased to file a criminal complaint in regards to crimes against humanity and genocide in regards to the Uyghur people who live in the northwest of China and are being subject to the most horrendous international crimes there because of their religion, they're Muslim, of course, and their ethnicity. So we filed the case in Argentina because of its broad universal jurisdiction provisions, which means that for those international crimes, such as genocide and crimes against humanity and torture, it doesn't matter where they're committed around the world. The Argentinian courts can take them on and investigate them. The way it works in Argentina is you submit your criminal complaint, and then the case will be allocated to one of the judges who are on duty, and they'll decide whether to open an investigation. So waiting for that to happen because we only just submitted the complaint. We hope they will accept the complaint and will open an investigation. If they do open an investigation, it means we can bring our witnesses to Argentina to give evidence to the investigating judge. And after that investigation by the judge and the prosecutor, the investigating judge will make a decision about whether to issue warrants for arrest and whether to start a trial. So we're at the very beginning of this long process, but we're very excited about getting started. We haven't had any opinion from the judge yet. We're hoping for the right decision in regards to this offense, because we say that just because China is a powerful state, it doesn't allow it to get away with committing these terrible crimes against the Uyghur people. We say that it's very important that the Argentinian courts recognize that under the provisions under their own constitution, which allow for universal jurisdiction. Yes, of course. So the first stage, we submitted a lengthy criminal complaint. The next stage is for the judge to decide whether to open an investigation. If the judge opens an investigation, we move into the investigatory stage where a prosecutor is appointed, and they look at all the evidence. They call the witnesses along to give their evidence on oath, which will be the first time for the Uyghurs to have their evidence given on oath. They can ask us questions about certain parts of the case. We can provide expert evidence for them as well. So that would be the next stage of it. At the end of the investigatory stage, then the judge would decide whether to move it into the trial stage, where he could issue arrest warrants and have a trial in regards to criminal allegations. So we're at the very beginning of this process, but it's very exciting to have got started. Well, all the judges in Argentina, the criminal judges on the federal level, have the ability to get involved in this case. We're not sure which judge will be allocated to yet, but we hope he or she will make the right decision in relation to this case. And it's not the first time universal jurisdiction has been used in Argentina. Currently, there's a case for the Rohingyas. And that case, the first judge decided not to open an investigation. So the British Rohingya Rights Organization brought this to the appeal court, who ordered the lower court to open an investigation. So that's one way of getting an investigation opened, when the first judge who looks at it decides not to open an investigation. So the use of universal jurisdiction is not new in Argentina. It's been used before. This case is a very important case because it's about one of the biggest international crimes taking place at the moment. You've got forced sterilization of Uyghur women to try to change the birth rate there, to try to destroy in part or in whole the Uyghur people. You've got the removal of Uyghur children from their parents and put into Chinese camps. You've got the movement of Uyghurs from their region across China to work in factories in slavery-like conditions. The special rapporteur from the United Nations came out 2 days ago and said that the movement of Uyghur people and Kazakhs and Uzbeks, of course, from the Uyghur region across China to work in factories, often for Western brands, is a form of slavery, and which looks like crimes against humanity, the crime against humanity of slavery. So there's all these things which are happening against the Uyghur people, systematic raping of Uyghur women, forced abortions, just the most horrendous evidence has come out. One of the things that I find most scary and worrying about what happens to Uyghur people is there is no way out for them. They can't go along to their local court and say, I've been abused, my rights have been abused, because there is no proper court system in China. They cannot go to the police. They can go to a human rights organization within China because they have no power there, and the police are involved in their intensive repression. And the orders for repression have come from the very top of the Chinese government. If you read the expert evidence, they use Chinese documents where they've spoken about smashing the Uyghur people and destroying the Uyghur people and lowering their birth rates. So it's clear that there's a plan which is coming from the very top of the Chinese regime to get rid of the Uyghur people as a separate people with their own culture, with their own religion, with their own language. So it's all very worrying that this is happening whilst we watch on. And after each genocide and atrocity, whether it's Bosnia, whether it's the Holocaust, we always say afterwards, never again, this will never happen again. And it's happening in front of us with the evidence being shown to people as we watch. Simply because China is a very powerful state doesn't mean that they should be able to get away with these kind of activities. It's not going to be easy because China has political power around the world, including in Argentina, and they have a close relationship with the Argentinian government. And then there's talk about a possible Chinese naval base in Argentina, which I'm not sure if that's correct or not. But it just shows that China is interested through the Belt and Road Initiative that, of course, those watching will have heard of. That's how China influences countries around the world, by drawing them in, by buying parts of their land, by taking their resources, by taking their strategic facilities, whether it's in Australia, taking ports in Australia, or what they've done in other countries in regards to power stations, etc. That's how they're going about it. And people can see it happening. What I said when I was in Argentina to the Argentinian people I met there, I said, look, we've made these mistakes. We're just trying to prevent you from making the same mistakes that we have. What I'd like to say to the public is that it's very important that we have the support of the people for the Uyghur people. You know, they're facing one of the strongest, most powerful dictatorships in the world, which is trying to crush them. And I know that the people of Indonesia support them. It's very important that people of Indonesia continue to raise their voice for the Uyghur people. Muslim organizations and Muslim majority countries have been embarrassingly quiet about what's happening to the Uyghur people. And this goes across the Organization of Islamic States, those states who went on the false visit to the region where they were led around by the Chinese regime. It's embarrassing to watch. And I say to the Indonesian people, I know the Indonesian people support the Uyghur people. I say, please continue to do that. Make sure your governments do that. Make sure the governments of other Islamic countries do that as well. Call for the Organization of Islamic States to back the Uyghur people. It's embarrassing that they aren't, because the Uyghurs need support. They're being destroyed as a people at the moment against one of the most powerful adversaries in the world, and they really do need the support. But it does mean a lot when the Indonesian people come out and protest and make noise about what's happening to the Uyghur people, and it's very much appreciated. So I'd ask them not to stop doing that.